Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are talking Baddies Africa episode 6. Let's get right into it. First, it starts with a food fight. Let's just get right into it. Mad Dolly, okay? I gotta call her Mad Dolly. It's no more Bad Dolly. She is so angry. It's just, it's disgusting. Mad Dolly is pissed and she's very angry. And remind you, Summer, or I also like to call her Bummer, because when I watch her, I feel so bummed out. She's gone, okay, for this episode. And I am so happy. And it starts off with Mad Dolly throwing food. It's a food fight, okay? And Natalie is announcing that they're going to go on a safari after this food fight. Now, the food fight to me wasn't really much to talk about. They're throwing food. I understand why Zeus doesn't feed them now, okay? Because if every time they feed you, you guys are going to be throwing food, I would see why you all are eating crackers, if that, right? So they have this food fight. It does come from, I believe, Fauna, bringing up Dolly's name. And then Mad Dolly got mad. She started throwing food. She wants to keep fighting. It's just really given she is trying to make some dominance for herself, especially while Bummer is gone. But we don't want to see it. At least I know I don't. Watching her is just, it's very difficult for me because she's so angry, like I said. And I just don't like how she's coming on this show. I don't like anything about really the way that she's moving. Natalie announces that the girls are going on a safari. And this is amazing to me, y'all, because once again, I stay in and out of Africa. I love Africa. And I have actually been to this same exact safari, y'all, in Cape Town. It's actually outside of Cape Town, about 2 hours out. It's a private animal reserve. And so it's not as nice as like the big safaris, but this one is definitely doable. You in Africa, you want to try to get that experience, boom, you got it right there. They introduce Choco Brown, and she is from Nigeria, honey. All my Nigerian girls stand up. So Choco Brown definitely brings this, she brings this very confident attitude about herself, which is nice, a confident persona. And she lets the people know that she is the real African queen. So Natalie talks to Diamond about inviting Anna. They have this scene and Natalie's like, why did you bring Anna? She's an op, and Diamond's like, oh, I did it one time, won't do it again, but I had to, invite my friend or whatever. And so at this point, you can tell Natalie is just figuring out her way of I'm just figuring out how I'm gonna get Diamond back, and I already know how I'm gonna get her back. Choco's gonna be staying in that room. And so she could have told Diamond right there at that meeting with her when she was discussing Anna coming to the club. She could have said, and by the way, you're gonna be having a roommate. But she never discussed it because that's messy Natalie for you. Now they're headed to the safari, okay? And I'm skipping because I'm only doing highlights. They're headed to the safari and Rolly is really having a fit with, what's her name? Russian crime or Russian cream, okay? Whatever that is, right? Russian cream. Where are they coming up with these names, y'all? Can we just stop for a second? Choco Brown, Russian cream, Cold Killer, Tavi. What? Where are these names coming from? I don't get it. I don't really like them at all, but the names, but it is what it is. All right, so moving on. Rolly gets mad because Russian cream is in the back of the bus and she's whispering, talking to Choco. She's telling her about some stuff the producers do. And Rolly was just like, why are you whispering? And to a certain extent, I understand that, right? Because it's when you on a show like this, Baddies, you should never feel like you got to whisper. Everybody on Baddies stands on business. So if you're whispering, it does kind of come off are you scary? Why did you feel like you have to whisper? We're on a bus. If this is what you have to say, stand on it, right? And so I get that. But I also felt like Rolly was, being a bit of a bully in that moment, asking her why is she whispering? Why is she saying that? That's misinformation. Maybe that's information that she finds to be true. Let the producers tell her that's misinformation. Let somebody on the staff tell her that's misinformation and correct her and maybe get her off of the show because they felt like she was giving misinformation. That's not Rolly's place. So, and don't get me wrong, I understand Rolly has some type of production, position, but she clearly doesn't have that much seniority, okay, within all of this, because she's still riding on the bus with all the rest of the girls while Natalie is pulling up in the Maybach, okay? So let's just keep it real. I felt like Rolly was just being a little bit, that's the bully side of Rolly, where she feels like she could little girl you, and she was doing that to her. And Russian Cream, she really couldn't explain herself that much. She told her she was pretty much gossiping again, and Rolly let her know that she didn't like her. Now, I understand to a certain extent as well why Rolly doesn't really care for her. Because when you think about how Russian Cream has come onto this show, it was always about gossiping. It was always about whispering and talking behind backs. She talked about, what was her name? LCK. And she talked about her to K. Rican. And then she got mad at K. Rican because K. Rican let LCK know the truth. Well, why was it a secret? This is how you feel, stand on business. And so that situation happened. Now you have this situation. She's whispering on the back of the bus to Choco Brown. She's telling her, oh yeah, producers will do this and that. It just comes off as like, are you just going to tell people what's going on really in their face? Or are you going to be a sneaky, brown noser? So I could kind of see, but Rolly never really said that. She was just like, you're a D-writer. And I'm like, D-writer? I think she would have been better off if she would have just said, I don't really feel like I can trust you. I feel like you talk behind backs. I feel like you whisper, you duck, you dodge. Say that. But D-writer, honey, she must have ran out of thoughts and words to use. But moving on. So they are on the bus. It's another bus. And K. Rican is just spilling all the tea, okay, on this other bus. She's telling Ivory about how Dolly, Mad Dolly, has said this about her and that about her. And I understand why K. Rican did that. Because why not? I have no loyalty to you, Mad Dolly. I don't know why you decided to tell me your business the first day you met me and then try to fight me 5 minutes later. So it was actually a smart move on K. Rican to just show, like, look how unstable this girl is. She didn't even know us. And she's telling us her business about you, and then she fights us. So yeah, there you go, right in your face. So I wasn't mad that she did that, and I think it's going to have a lot of impact on the future episodes. It's definitely some stuff stirring up and cooking for these future episodes, but we're gonna get into that later. So they make it to the safari, and y'all, it was so beautiful. Like, it was so nice just seeing the girls look at all the animals and connecting with Africa and the beauty of just realizing, yeah, life is not all about fighting. Life is not all about, calling people out. Sometimes it's just about peace and serenity and looking at beauty of nature and different places that you can visit. So I think it was a great touch to see them on this safari and to see them really integrating with African culture. Moving on. I feel like we need to see more of that. Hopefully we do while they're in Africa. Hopefully we see more of them vibing out rather than just fighting all the time, especially when they don't even discuss why they're fighting and they're just sneaking. So now Rolly addresses Russian Cream, and she's like, yeah, I just want to let you know I don't want to get on the bus with you. I don't really care for you. Russian Cream was like, well, what's up? If you don't care for me, how about we just, and Rolly like, let's do it. And so I must say, when I saw them fighting, again, unfair advantage for Rolly. She's huge. Russian Cream even admits, she said she was about 130, 140 pounds max. If you fight and you're a fighter, weight has everything to do with fighting. You have to fight in your correct weight class. So for me, I understand why she lost to Rolly, but she did do okay. I will give her that. Rolly was leaking right here, okay? I don't know if y'all saw it. They were quick with those cameras. They turned them cameras quick. They made sure they didn't really show Rolly, but when that first fight happened right here, it was blood all on the Rolly. So I don't know what she did, how she got her, but she was leaking. Okay, then but I will say Rolly did hit her more. She connected, the hits were harder. But Kay, what was her name? Not Kay Rican, Russian Cream, she did get some hits in, and she even had her bleeding. Second round, Rolly won again. I mean, we're not surprised by that. She literally looks like she's 140 pounds. Rolly looks like she's about 270, 280. So it's just like, it's a weight difference, you know? And don't get me wrong, you can fight all you can. You could be a professional fighter. And if your weight difference is too significant, they won't even let you fight professionally, fight each other like that, because it's not a fair fight. Dolly wants to take Choco to her room. So they're leaving the safari, and it's time for Choco to move into her room, which is with Diamond. Okay. And Choco is excited to go see her room, and Dolly's like, I'll take you to your room to be messy, right? And so they go down there. DTB is like, why are you all down here? Like, why does it take both of you? And Dolly's like, well, I'm just showing her to her room. And Choco's kind of like, I can't have somebody show me to my room. Like, she don't even know what's going on. And the next thing you know, DTB, blah, 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 she squares up with Dolly. They get into a nasty, grimy, gritty fight, honey. I mean, this one felt like a real TV fight. Like, this was like real. It wasn't those little fake fights, those little, they doing all this real quick. No. She was gouging out eyeballs. They was kicking leg, kicking. I really like that woman's security guard, because I noticed it was her breaking up the fight, and she doesn't let them like in the fight that quick. She kind of lets them brawl it out a little bit, and then she gets in there, but she's not that good to like get them separated good. So she kind of like lets them, she gets in between them, but they still fighting, you know. It's like a real fight. Whereas the zoo security, you know, they come and they break it up in 2 seconds. And they big, you know, so it takes them 2 seconds to grab one girl and to grab the other. So I kind of like having that lady around. But anyway, the fight was good. And I will say Dolly won that. Dolly won that fight. Man, Dolly won it. You know, I will give her that she's a decent fighter. Clearly, she still got beat by Tasiki, but she's doing pretty well with fighting these girls, right? Because she just, to me, I think what it is about Dolly's fights is just that she seems to like hit hard a bit. She stays in the paint. Like, she don't let up. And she just keeps going. Like, she keeps going, and she finds pivotal areas to actually punch and connect, right? She's connecting. So she'll find like an eye to connect with. She gonna find something on you, connect it, drill in on that area. And then the punches are kind of hard too. So, I mean, I've been noticing she's been winning fights lately, but this one with DTB, I mean, DTB did start the fight with her. I know that they were beefing, but DTB put the first punch, right? And so she ended up losing. But she lost bad because Dolly is literally like gouging out her eye. Like, she's like, my eye. Like, it was bad. I'm like, she's gouging out your eye? Like, what? How do we get to this point? You know, they are kicking each other. Like, to me, certain aspects of a fight also should send somebody home. Like, I will admit. And like gouging out an eye should be one of those, like, you got to go home. Because like, you just fighting too wild. You fighting too reckless. Like, you'll be the type of person that's going to pick up a knife next. If you're gouging out eyes, what's stopping you from getting a knife next and start stabbing somebody? Like, you know, it's giving cold killer in real life. Okay? So they do this fight, and this fight is interesting. And once the fight ends, this is where it really heats up. Because now Ivory comes down. She's like, what's going on? I'm checking on you. She like, they came down here to my room. I felt like, you know, I was being overwhelmed. I had 2 people down here. And she sees Choco and she's walking past, and she said, yeah, she was. Bout, punches Choco in the eye. Just let that sink in for a minute. Because Diamond needs to have enough of these sneak attacks. She's been sneaking since she started with the show. She snuck, what's the girl's name that she snuck to get on the show? Tinkerbella. She snuck Tinkerbella from the behind just to get on the auditions. Then she gets on the show, she's sneaking people. I never forget when she snuck Bianca. She's a sneak disser, and I don't like that. Like, if you are going to be about it, just stand up to people. She snuck Natalie at the reunion. Natalie didn't even know she was about to get popped in the face. Like, sneaking to me does not get you any brownie points, any applause, any claps, any gains, none of that. So she sneaks Choco, punches her in the eye. I didn't know what to expect from Choco. I just knew in my head, I said, I hope Choco gets in that. I didn't know what to expect. Choco said, you gotta run it with me because you just punched me in the eye. Choco's eye is messed up. You know, she wasn't expecting it. And so when Diamond and Choco square up, Choco got in the paint, honey. I'm talking about she's watching, connecting, watching. Her head never went down. Diamond swimming, exercising, jump roping. She doing all of the jumping jacks and everything. Choco just bye. And I was happy to see that because, to be honest, I don't really care for DTB. I don't care for people who sneak. And that's all she does. She's not funny to me. You know, she's a sneak disser and she's ratchet. And I think she's a stripper. So she just gives that vibe with these like big eyelashes. It's just not giving baddie. It's not giving, she's trying to give body. That's why she goes by DTB, because she knows face card is not doing it. It's not doing anything. So I don't like DTB, you know. I'm not favorable of her at all, but I also am just favorable of like the truth and what's actually happening. And in that moment, she was wrong. And I'm happy that Choco handled it. She handled her. So they fought and then they run it again and Choco wins again. She's bye. And she really got DTB wondering like, dang, am I even going to be able to keep my room? Not only you were supposed to come in and sleep on this other bed, but now you might be trying to take my bed the way you fighting. So I think in that moment for me, I just was like, all right, we'll see what happens. They ended up getting on the bus and they're headed to the club. And it looks like Dolly was talking about having her fingers in Diamond's eyes. And it was just disgusting. You know, like she's literally on the bus, like telling the girls, gloating about it. Yeah, I had dug my fingers in her eyes. Just nasty, you know. So that's happening. So they go to the club. And again, Diamond, she's always, to me, all Diamond is a sneak disser and a thief. Because she's not original, you know. And so here she is. She's taking this girl's song, Cold Killer, supposedly, that made a new song out of it. That's trash. Your one and only hit. You took somebody else's song and made a diss track out of it. A new song. That's trash. So at this point, you know, for me, I'm just looking at what's happening and I'm just shaking my head. But it's not surprising because that's how DTB gets down. So they get back to the house and it's now a scene with LCK and Tavi. And Tavi is basically telling LCK like, look, I dabbed Cold Killer. I don't need your permission for what I do. And LCK is like, well, you said you were my friend and then you go dab her. How is this possible? You know, she's giving her the eye and all of that. And Tavi's like, look, you're not going to control me. And we ain't even really friends. Like, I stood up for you, but I don't even know why I did. And we all know why she did. Camera time. It's very clear because y'all not real friends. You're not trying to be friends. You actually think she's weird, but you felt like you wanted to be Superwoman in that moment so that you could get some camera time and people could kind of know who you were. It's fake. And it proved itself fake because when she got mad at LCK about feeling that way, okay, she runs downstairs and she goes and tells Cold Killer what just happened. So at this point, Tavi walks down and she goes to Cold Killer and she's like, yo, LCK is mad because you gave me dap and I don't know. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And so Cold Killer's looking kind of like, excuse me? Like, you want to smoke with me? Or like, because she came down so aggressive that like Cold Killer doesn't even really know what's going on. She's like, are you mad at me again? Or she doesn't get it. And Tavi comes down. She's trying to tell Cold Killer how, she was looking out for her and she didn't get mad or whatever. It just was stupid to me. Like, it was Tavi trying to cop a plea with Cold Killer, and Cold Killer act like she didn't know what she was talking about. And it made Tavi look so stupid. Like, she legitimately looked stupid. Like, you literally just turned on LCK, who you claim was your friend, to let Cold Killer know that you were basically standing up for her. And Cold Killer's like, you ain't got to stand up for me because I don't really mess with you like that. And it was like, oh, like it was like one of those moments where Tavi even got irritated because she like, you really gonna put me out here like that? You really gonna do me like that? But it's like, yeah, because you came down way too aggressive. I mean, I will admit, Cold Killer, she has a little temper problem. So it's like she was talking to the wrong person. She talking to somebody with a temper. And Cold Killer should not have the temper that she has, to be honest, because she is not a good fighter. For the level of temper that she has, she is not a good fighter at all. But she pretty much got irritated because it was like, don't come downstairs on demon time and on 10 trying to tell me something, and I don't even know what you're saying or what message you're trying to convey to me. And me and you have gotten into it before. So I don't even know where you're coming from. I don't know if this is a good place, a bad place. I don't know. So I understand, and I think that next episode is going to be very interesting because we see that Cold Killer and Tavi are doing a lot of fighting, and it's very clear that Tavi was winning most of those fights. I mean, she is huge, and once again, weight and height has a lot to do with it, but Tavi was getting in the paint with Cold Killer. So let's see what the next episode has in store for us. Until next week, Sunday, I'll see you for the next Baddies review.